How many friends do you have?
4, 6, 3. Define friend. What do you consider a friend? Everybody here?
Does anyone here have a best friend? How do you know if someone is your best friend?
They tell you. You feel it. You rank them.
Okay, so I heard multiple answers. Is it more of an innate feeling or a culmination of actions that proves, like somebody does a bunch of stuff to prove that they are your best friend? Is it just you feel it or do they prove it?
It's the combination.
Sometimes I feel like I have no friends.
I'll be your friend.
Ew, gross. Sometimes I feel like I have too many friends. But I do prefer having no friends. But when I am having a particularly hard time, it is nice to have multiple options, having multiple friends. People to use as sounding boards if you're like in a bind, but then use is a weird word because then it feels like you're just using people. How many relationships in your life are one-sided?
All of them.
Dog. How many relationships in your life aren't completely honest?
Too many.
Do you ever say bad things about someone that you've called a best friend?
Guilty.
Like even if it's just a little jab or a little statement here or there. When they're not around, not to their face, but I guess talking behind their back. Who's talked behind someone's back?
Everybody.
Another word for that is betrayal. So I think about my own friends. There are a few. But what do I bring into their lives? Really? Because I talk about myself way too much, clearly. And I don't know. I'm like pretty negative, which is pretty apparent as of right now. I'm also completely changing the set that I was going to do because it is a varied audience with various ages. So I'm not going to say a lot of things I was going to say. But betrayal. Sometimes I'm kind. Like very rarely, but I am kind sometimes. But the times that I'm saying something bad about somebody else, what if word got out that I was saying something bad about someone that I called a friend or a best friend? What would happen? What happens when you say something bad about a friend? It is scary. So what if one of your friends caught you saying something bad about them and eventually they realized that they had to turn their back on you? That you don't deserve their friendship for what you did? Would you be able to live with that, situation? What's it like to be completely alone? Do you ever think about how much your body hurts? Okay, so all of these aches, what if one of the times that you're aching, it's a possible, like, underlying illness? And, like, your anxiety about, like, oh, is it an illness? Is it not an illness? What if one day it comes true and it is? What if it's terminal? Who's going to be there for you if you've alienated yourself? If you've ruined all your friendships? You said something bad about a friend? Who's going to be there for you? Who's going to hold your hand? Are you going to be able to hold your own hand through that experience? It's terminal, so it's to the very end. It's just a question.
They gain energy by being by themselves. Having no friends isn't a bad thing, and you shouldn't feel bad if you have no friends. It either is your choice or it's not. And if it's not your choice, it's okay, because being by yourself is okay. You can do so many things by yourself. So
my
for
parents
me,
are really well off.
growing up, I had a good amount of friends.
Quite a bit more
I
often than
had
even other people, other kids would be
and
teased on a more
such.
frequent basis.
I was more always on the shy,
and
timid
so
side, but I still had
That kind of
friends. I always
led
had
to some challenges, but
someone to talk to.
interestingly enough,
These people I always
I would
had,
still
I
have friends,
never
and I would still have
truly
people to
let
hang
them
out
into
with,
my
and I
life.
even
I never
had
really
a
let
close
them
friend.
know who I really was.
Pretty much
I felt
all the
like
way up
I
until
was
I was
always
about 18 years of
just so I
age.
wouldn't be alone,
We met like
so I didn't
in
feel
first grade, and we
lonely
became
or
like
by
really close
myself.
friends all the way up until age 18.
And
I hung
this
out with
habit
a couple
even
other
carried
people.
on into college.
So pretty much,
When you go to college,
I generally
like
had
I did, I went
friends
to
all the way up until around my mid-30s. And that is when things
But I
kind of
found
really
myself doing
fell
the same
by the
thing.
wayside.
I made friends with people.
And so pretty much since my mid-30s, I've essentially had no friends. And like I said, that's kind of a term that I guess I could kind of use loosely, because I mean, you've got like online friends, you've got, acquaintances, but I'm referring to like friends in which you can actually like hang out with, like physically, be able to like, chat, be able to like hang out, do whatever it may be. And I can attribute that to there is something ugly about myself. And even like when I post on Facebook and I try to be funny and I think I'm being humorous and I find myself laughing at a particular video I make, I find that especially on Facebook or Instagram, it's like people are just they're not really seeing any humor, and it's like I would think that if they were finding it humor, they would at least respond saying that was funny or that was awesome or whatnot. But I feel like there are strategic ways to be humorous that are going to help attract people towards you, and then there are ways that you can try to be humorous, but they're going to make you sound like a turd. And I have the feeling that my sense of humor, the way I try to come off as funny, is making me sound like a turd. And so hence, kind of it's an ugly way of being humorous. My personality is probably it's not charismatic. I'll say that. More than likely, that's due to my depression and anxiety as to why my personality is not even close to being charismatic at all. So it's, one thing that programming has taught me, and this field I'm going into has really taught me, is if something is not working, then there is obviously a malfunction, as I would say. Someone who is positively, in a good sense, humorous, they know how to socially interact with other people, they know how to say the right things, they're attractive. I mean, let's face it, even physical attractiveness is really important. It's going to help them be able to make friends and whatnot. But if you don't have any of those things going for you, then obviously you're going to have difficulty making new friends, establishing relationships and whatnot. And so pretty much it's like, cause I mean, it's not like I'm just like sitting in my apartment all day, never venturing out and whatnot. I mean, I'm taking, pursuing a bachelor's degree in
Yeah, when you haven't slept in 5 days, you've been having so much sex. That's the perfect time. That's the perfect time for it.
That'll be their next.
accidental, or it could be suicidal, but they're calling these like deaths of despair. To me, people who are in despair,
You've got a great heart. You're so loved. Even if you weren't, all you'd have to remember is to love yourself above everything else. That's the most important love you can experience. Thanks for doing this thing with me. I love you dearly. I appreciate you, and I know things suck a lot right now, but our friendship is valuable, and all of the work we've put into it over years was worth it. It was always worth it.
For me,
I love all of you, even the unfunny and occasional ugly parts. I'm so happy to be next to
on the
you.
floor,
Please
I
hold
couldn't
on
feel
to
my
this
face
note,
anymore.
and when you miss
Like,
me, look at it, and know that I love
so
you.
funny.
Thank you for
Anyways,
your
Benny
love.
doesn't want to
Thank
see
you
me
for a
anymore.
home. Thank
Some
you for
chick at
making
Low
me
Country.
feel truly
I think my dog
appreciated
can
and
tell that
cared
I'm
for.
suicidal.
I have
It
never
is
really had
always
that.
weird going home
It
with
is
someone
like
who
a
just
dream
takes
coming
out.
true.
This was before I did
This
real
plant
tours.
is growing like
Whatever that
crazy,
means.
and I love it.
You somehow packed the basement. Later,
over
Overpost showed
here
drinks,
because
but your
I
hand
want you to
between my
be able
legs.
to appreciate
Your
it.
roommates were
Thank
cool.
you
The
for
dog was my
everything you
favorite.
did
Breakfast
there.
was good. Be
Even
left
if it
on
was
time.
only temporary.
You said, Milford has a movie being made about him. It's part of the fest. I still have your tip.
How can I have a friend that I admire and respect for
I
years?
said I think it's a bad idea asking a white person to open that gig. You flicked my nose. You said
With. How can I have those things and not think to
finding your
myself,
apartment was a
when
pain.
that friend is pulling you closer in a small bed
Are
in
you
the
old
middle
enough
of
to
the
drink?
night? That
Do I
love
have a
this
drinking
person.
issue?
I
You
love
invited me over,
I will always
Not me.
love you.
closing my eyes to keep it hard. That's what a person that I really want lives, not fear. You said I came. Not me. I broke down last night. I realized it had been 8 months since someone held me. Then I broke down again. Not a total burnout. But the people in my life seem to be fading away too quickly. But maybe it is just me learning to run in slow motion.